we all set? We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Okay, we'll do roll call and determination of quorum.
Mike Hanna, present.
Greg Campbell, present.
Dan Maddox, present.
Lynn Mellinger, present.
Steve Denny here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay, we'll go ahead and look at meeting minutes from April. Any comments or questions? Anything we need to discuss or address? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, we'll move on. Scott, old business to discuss?
No.
Okay,
Just need to go in.
we'll go ahead and move on to new business here. You want to talk us through this first item here, the public hearing and creation of Serenity allocation area?
Oh,
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and just, if we could formally open the public hearing on these petitions, just with a simple, you as the presiding officer can announce that the public hearing is here.
Okay, so we'll transition into the public hearing section of the meeting to discuss the resolution 24 PRC 3 and resolution 24 PRC 4 and resolution 24 PRC 5.
all right,
All right,
good
Denise.
evening. Thank you. So you know that the last several months, we've been working with JDK Kids on the Serenity Community Development Agreement. So we are now at stop number 4 for this process. So tonight before you, we do have 3 resolutions that we'd like to present. They're pretty streamlined, pretty simple, more formality, legality purposes, you know, for this project here. But tonight, our purpose is to confirm this new test district and the new allocation area. We have maps here if you want to look at that, but it is the property that is just west of town there to the north of Heritage Way and State Street there. So just kind of a little bit of a real quick recap. We have the 2 resolutions that were passed at our April 4th RDC meeting. That resolution was one to establish the allocation, a new TIF district, and then the second one was more into the details of the agreement, which had those 2 exhibits, which was the supplemental community development agreement, and then we also had more of the allocation or the breakdown as far as the TIF revenues. Those were approved on the 4th of April. And then from there, we took those documents and we presented them to the Plan Commission at their May 1st Plan Commission meeting. Basically, what they did was they took a look at the project and they confirmed that this project was in line with the planning documents and envisions for the town of Pendleton. So they approved their resolution that gave favorable recommendation for this agreement. Then we took that before the town council on May 9th. And that evening, the town council had all approved that the resolutions previous to their resolution was in line with the planning and visions for the town of Pendleton. So that being said, we're here tonight just to wrap up stop number 4 to then confirm then this area as a new TIF district and a new allocation area. So we have then the 3 resolutions here, mainly the first resolution, which is the 24 PRC number 3. What that establishes is just the fact that you're confirming that this is going to be a new TIF district and allocation area. So it's I think maybe a 2-page document. Like I said, a lot of legalities, but the gist of it is just that you are confirming that you are in support of this area being designated as a new TIF district. Just kind of a recall, originally there was one large 73-acre parcel. It has been now split into 3 separate parcels. 2 of them are smaller, more on the north east side of Heritage Way and State Street there. But then it left probably around 65 acres then for a larger parcel still that will soon develop into separate parcels. But what we had to do is we had to take those 3 districts out of the already existing TIF district, that was passed several years ago by your board, and create it then and pull it into then its own district. So we kind of removed that whole parcel, but then moved in the 3 new parcels into this district. So that here, I don't know if you have any questions for us as far as for this resolution. Jeff, would this board want to vote on each of these all at once at the end, or would it be better to do each separately? Didn't ask them.
Should vote each separately, but at the conclusion of the public hearing.
Okay, okay, all right. We will need, a vote on that tonight. And we get a majority on that, then we can pass that resolution. Stephanie, if you can pull up then the second resolution, which is item number, or excuse me, it's number 5 on the list, but it's the 4th resolution that we have in this process. So for this resolution number 4, basically outlines what the town is pledging in TIP revenues for this agreement. Again, it is that 75-25 split, and our conversations between the town of Pendleton, the bond council, as well as council for the JDK kids, as well as we have Reedy Financial has been a great support here. We do have Matt Frishy here that is very familiar with TIP revenue. He's been a great assistance to us on this project and journey. And they have determined that we want to, it'd be best to cap it at a $35.6 million bond. That would be utilization for any roadway improvements that this developer has agreed to provide, which is that 4-lane boulevard from the south to the north boundaries of that property, as well as any project improvements that he and his tenants need then for that. So a lot of work went into that and coming up with that number. But it is just a formal document stating what the town is agreeing as far as how those TIP revenues will be divided going forward. Anyone have any questions on that document at this time? Okay. Then our third final document, I do want to, I failed to mention, we've also sent out, which Reedy Financial
The last one can be separate.
can be
Public hearing.
separate. Okay, so
yes.
we'll go ahead and close then and voting. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Denise, second.
Yeah.
If I might. Things were moved around a little bit, but nothing changed from the last meeting when we discussed this.
That's
We
correct.
just had to do things for TIF districts, and the amounts are all the same. The money we talked about is all the same.
Yes,
Correct.
and if I recall correctly, Stephanie, if you want to pull up number 9 on the list there, this is a great benefit analysis that Reedy Financial provided for us. I believe we may not have had this at our April RDC. It was kind of early in the game.
Go to the 75.
Yeah.
The last one.
So yeah, so it was a great comparison of what it was like when they originally asked at 90-10. This is the agreement here. And so we presented this to the planning commission as well as town council, but you could see here the breakdown, what is projected to be gained from TIF revenue, both on the sides of the town and the developer. But then also when we incorporate in that agreement of the roadway improvement, that $6 million investment the developers agreed to take on, you'll see that it actually provides, at the end of the day, it provides a 50-50 share of the revenues there. A little bit more on the town side though, but that was taken by a very well-founded but conservative assessed value of the projects that we anticipate that will take place on this land here in the next 25 years. That
Thank you.
yes, but you are correct though, Craig, there's not been any changes in any of the structure of this project. Any of the dynamics, all of the legalities are exactly as what was presented.
Thank you.
Mhm. So that being said, that kind of wraps up my resolutions. After we make vote decisions on that, I will be turning it over to Matt Frishy. He is going to present our third and final resolution. It talks about the excess TIP revenue, how that those will be anticipated to be fully captured, taken based on obligations, bonds that are already existing and so forth on the town side, that there would not be any excess revenue to then go on to the overlapping taxing units. So, and there's going to be some notification requirements that are going to come in after all this is all said and done next week when we go to EDC at 5 o'clock next Thursday. They're going to be dealing and looking at more of the financial piece of it and the bonding aspect of it. And then town council right after that will be taking a look at a second read for the bond ordinance for that. Once that's all said and done, we're going to be giving notification to all taxing units for the second time. And how this agreement is structured, what they can anticipate going forward. And then this will allow then our developer to be able to close bond probably late June, maybe early July, and get things rolling with construction and development there. So, okay, I think that is all for me. Do you have any other questions on that? You can ask. We may have some online as well. I'm not for sure if they're able to attend, but answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from our group? So we can go ahead and hear a motion for the first two resolutions here.
What I recommend is just for the record to invite any public comment, either online or
Okay.
here. I know it's a very sparse crowd, to say the least. And then
Yeah, is there anyone that would like to make a public comment? Okay, hearing none. Do I hear a motion to approve these first two
go ahead
resolutions?
and close the public hearing first.
Okay.
And then, sorry,
That's
Yeah,
okay. No.
all your food, John.
I get it. All right, well, that will conclude the public hearing. And now we'll move on to take vote on these resolutions.
We're voting on 3 and 4 together.
No, I recommend separately.
Okay. Do I hear a motion for resolution 24 PRC 3?
I will make a motion to approve 24 PRC 3 as written.
I will second.
Okay, any further comment or questions? If hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, resolution 24 PRC 3 passes unanimously. We'll move on to resolution 24 PRC 4. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to pass resolution 24 PRC 4 as written.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other comments, questions regarding this resolution? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote in favor by signaling aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, resolution passes. All right, so we'll move on to the third resolution for the evening, and you'll welcome to the
I'll walk you
stage.
through it. I'll walk
To
you
the
through it.
stage, yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, resolution 24 PRC 5. Essentially, this resolution is to satisfy your guys' June 15th reporting requirement. It's an annual requirement that determines that requires us to determine if any amount of assessed value that we're currently capturing in our TIF allocation areas will be released to overlapping units. We've looked at your guys' current expenditures for the year, projected expenditures for next year, and we do not anticipate and do not advise passing through any of that assessed value and retaining all that value that is currently in your TIF allocation areas. So the resolution before you just basically states that essentially there's a calculation that needs to be made that you're not receiving, that your revenues do not outpace your expenditures by over 200%. So we have calculated those calculations per allocation area, determined that none of the allocation areas are above that 200% threshold, which entitles us to retain all that assessed value within our allocation areas. So you'll see the resolution really kind of memorializes what I just spoke in a lot of legal jargon, right? And then you'll see exhibit A's that have a breakdown of each allocation area, the expected revenues, the expected debt payments and expenditures, and then that final calculation that determines that none of those are above 200%. And then exhibit B would just be the letters to those overlapping units. Once we get the resolution approved, signatures on the letters, we'll go ahead and send those out to overlapping units so that then the auditor can notify the DLGF by June 15th that no assessed value will be passed through to overlapping units. that is the gist of this resolution. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. But other than that, pretty straightforward.
If I may. Can you explain what happens when you do exceed the ratio?
When you exceed the ratio, like I said, that's when they obligate you to, you're essentially at that point hoarding revenues with no plan for those revenues. And, you're not using them for a purpose. The point of TIF is to generate those revenues and use them for economic development and for betterment of your community. Basically, that 200% is just that threshold to determine, are you utilizing these funds actually, or are you just banking them in an account for a future use? That is unknown.
So after the 2 point, you have to.
The 200%, you'd have to look at passing through assessed value to get you down below that 200%.
Is there any grace period on that, or is that an annual test that if you exceed it, make a change?
Yeah, it's an annual test. And that's why it's an annual June 15th reporting requirement. So that's why it's always important to, and I know that we have developed a TIF financial plan to kind of keep an eye on revenues and expenditures. And it's always important that, when we do see that, that's when we come to you guys to say, hey, there may be an issue next year. We need to look at what are some other projects that we can start utilizing these funds for to make sure that we don't exceed that 200% threshold.
Sounds good. Yeah, we're at 172, looks like, for the year.
For the first one, probably, we scroll down a little bit. Actually, I have it right in front of me. I don't know why I'm
161.
asking. Yeah, 172.
174.
Yep. And then the last one's 149. And that last one, you'll see that, that's the first year we're expecting to receive revenue. It's very minimal, $335. So yeah, as we see more, we'll want to look at what are some potential projects that we can fit in there.
Oh, I got them.
Okay, you got the projects.
Which area is this one, the new one?
That was those 13 parcels that you all approved
Okay.
about
Yep.
a year ago.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, that's why this is the first year, I
Right.
think it was approved in 22, which would mean base assessment date was 1/1/22, first year for TIF assessed value 1/1/23, revenue received in 24.
Just a question on each of the worksheets.
Yes, sir.
Professional services,
Yep,
quite a bit of money getting spent. What is that?
those are just projections. Like I said, we take a look at kind of what you guys have paid historically. And then we just kind of include that as an amount that is, expected or roughly expected. Like I said, it's just a projection. It's not necessarily saying that that's 100% what we're spending next year for professional services. It's just based on historical data of what you've paid in the past. Now, a lot of that would be probably, or a lot of that would just be, if there's any legal fees, also just staying compliant, paying me to make sure that we're satisfying all of our reporting requirements. I'm not saying that all that money is going to by any means.
It could be engineering too.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know. Is there one that sticks out, Steve?
No, I was just looking at each of the worksheets and just
It's,
wanted to
you'll
get
see,
additional
remember,
information.
we present that budget.
Yeah.
It's basically that.
Yeah, it's a combination of a couple different factors.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for that
Yeah.
explanation.
Yeah,
And
of course.
Thank you.
Any questions from our group? All right, well, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 24 PRC 5.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, resolution passes. Okay. Let's see here. Looks like that is, concludes our business for the evening. Scott, is there anything you'd like to go over at tonight?
No. Thank you. We're sort of asking you to trust a little bit. It was an extensive process, a lot of hard work, and I just want to thank you.
Yeah.
Good work,
Thank you.
all of it.
Well done. Onward.
All learned a lot.
I've seen a lot of these, and this commission asks more questions, better questions than anyone that I've ever been in front of. Most of the RDCs, I think, have too much trust in their professional team. You guys ask questions and thank you.
And I'm glad you asked the questions too. Like I said, wanted, and that definitely had an extra layer.
Accountability for us.
Accountability,
Sure.
you know.
Well, that's what we're here for. Ask questions.
It's exciting stuff.
All right, well, very good. Does anyone else have anything to add for this evening? All right, looks like our next meeting will be August 1st, 5:30 here. So we will adjourn.